Have you ever met someone who turns down every invitation, cancels plans without guilt, and seems perfectly happy being completely alone? Most people think something is wrong with them, but psychology says something very different. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden reasons why some people choose solitude, not because they're broken, but because they're wired differently. We live in a world that celebrates being social. The more friends you have, the better. The more parties you attend, the more alive you are. But there's a group of people who don't follow that rule. They're not sad. They're not shy. They're not antisocial. They simply feel more themselves when they're alone. And science has a name for this: high sensitivity to social stimulation. These people's nervous systems process social environments more intensely than others. A busy party that gives one person energy drains them completely. And so, they choose peace. They choose solitude. Every single time. So what's really happening inside the mind of someone who prefers to be alone? First, their inner world is incredibly rich. Psychologist Elaine Aron discovered that highly sensitive people and deep introverts process information at a much deeper level. When they're alone, their mind is never truly empty. They're analyzing, imagining, creating, and reflecting. For them, solitude isn't emptiness. It's fullness. Second, social interaction costs them more energy. Research in neuroscience shows that introverts use more of the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for deep thinking, when they interact socially. This means every conversation, every social event, every phone call requires real mental effort. Not because they hate people, but because their brain is working overtime. Third, they feel most authentic when alone. Many people who prefer solitude report that around others, they feel like they're performing, like they have to edit themselves, choose the right words, smile at the right time, react the right way. But when they're alone, they can just be. No performance, no mask, no exhaustion. And once you've tasted that kind of freedom, it's very hard to give it up. Now let's go deeper, because there are some reasons people choose solitude that most of us never talk about. Reason number one: past emotional wounds. Many who prefer isolation have been deeply hurt in relationships. Betrayal, rejection, being misunderstood over and over again. At some point, their mind made a quiet decision: I am safer alone. This isn't weakness. It's survival. But psychology warns us, if solitude becomes a wall to hide behind, it slowly becomes a prison. Reason number two: high standards for connection. Some people don't want many connections. They want real ones. They would rather spend Friday night alone reading a book than sit in a room full of people having surface-level conversations. They crave depth, authenticity, meaning. And because that's rare to find, they often end up alone by choice. Reason number three: they are their own best company. This sounds strange to most people, but there are individuals who have developed such a strong relationship with themselves, through journaling, meditation, reading, creating, that they genuinely enjoy their own presence. They don't need external stimulation to feel alive. They generate it from within. Reason number four: overstimulation from modern life. Social media, notifications, noise, opinions, drama. For sensitive people, the modern world is overwhelming. Solitude becomes not a preference, but a necessity, a way to decompress, reset, and survive. Reason number five: a deep sense of independence. Some people fear dependency. They've seen what happens when you need others too much: the hurt, the disappointment, the loss of control. So they build a life that needs no one. And slowly, solitude becomes their identity. Now here's where we need to have an honest conversation. Choosing solitude can be healthy, powerful, and beautiful. But there is a line. Psychologists distinguish between chosen solitude, which is restorative and intentional, and forced isolation, which is driven by fear, shame, or trauma. When someone avoids people not because they love peace, but because they're afraid of being rejected, judged, or hurt, that's not a strength. That's a wound that needs healing. The warning signs are subtle. You feel relieved every time plans are canceled. You feel guilty for wanting connection. You convince yourself you don't need anyone, but deep down, you're lonely. Solitude no longer feels peaceful. It feels empty. If this sounds familiar, it's not a sign you're broken. It's a sign that part of you is still waiting to be understood. And that part deserves care. But when chosen with awareness, solitude is one of the most powerful states a human being can enter. History's greatest thinkers, artists, and innovators were people who spent enormous amounts of time alone. Newton developed the theory of gravity during a period of forced solitude. Nikola Tesla said his greatest ideas came when he was completely alone. Frida Kahlo turned her isolation into some of the most powerful art the world has ever seen. Because in silence, you can finally hear yourself. You discover what you actually think, what you actually want, not what others expect of you. Solitude teaches you that you are enough, that your own presence has value, that you don't need constant validation to know you exist. And that is a rare kind of freedom. So the next time you see someone who prefers to be alone, don't feel sorry for them. Don't assume they're sad, broken, or missing out. Maybe they've simply discovered something most people spend their whole lives searching for: themselves. And if you are that person, someone who finds peace in solitude, know this: you are not strange. You are not cold. You are not wrong. You are someone who has learned to be at home within yourself. And in a world that never stops making noise, that is one of the quietest, most powerful things a person can be. If this video made you reflect on yourself or someone you know, share it with them. And in the comments below, tell me, do you prefer solitude, or do you need people around you to feel alive? I read every single comment. Until next time, take care of your inner world. It's the only one that's truly yours.